Errol Flynn and Basal Rathbone sword fighting on a spiral staircase. An archer splitting the arrow of another. Mysterious arrows flying into the chest of Normans.
Now broadcasting from beautiful downtown Tallahassee, it's Classic Movie Reviews with Snark.
Welcome to today's show. My name is John. As always, you can subscribe to this show on iTunes or follow the links to social media in the podcast show notes. You can also go to snarkymoviereviews.com to read bios, notes, and other random movie thoughts. Remember, this show is completely free and independent. All I ask is that you jump over to iTunes and give me a review. Today's movie is The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938. This movie is a wonderfully campy version of the Robin Hood story. It features another pairing of Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland. The bad guys are extra bad, as played by Basal Rathbone, Claudi Rains, and Melville Cooper. The comedy is kept solid throughout the movie by Una O'Connor, Eugene Pallette, and Herbert Munden. This movie is so much fun, and you can see the actors having a great time as well, whether they're swinging from a tree or sword fighting on the stairway. A lot of the actors we have already covered, so I'll jump right in with them. Actors. The title role of Robin Hood was played by the great swashbuckling actor Errol Flynn. Flynn was amazing in this role as the devil-may-care outlaw defending the realm of Richard the Lionheart. We covered Errol Flynn in episode 75, Captain Blood, 1935. Olivia de Havilland was fantastic as Maid or Lady Marian. She must have had a great time making this movie, and she looked like it. She had a different dress on in every scene. I think one had a Bayonne tapestry theme. We covered Olivia de Havilland in episode 75, Captain Blood, 1935. Basal Rathbone played the role of Sir Guy of Gisborne, one of the bad guys. We covered Rathbone in episode 9, Son of Frankenstein, 1939. Claudi Rains was great as super greasy Prince John. We first covered this impressive actor in episode 6, The Wolfman, 1941. Patrick Knowles played the role of Robin Hood's main dude, Will Scarlet. We covered Knowles in episode 2, Chisholm, 1970. Una O'Connor played Bess, elder lady-in-waiting to Maid Marian. O'Connor was covered in episode 7, Bride of Frankenstein, 1935. Eugene Pallette was cast in the rotund role of Friar Tuck. During the silent era, Pallette was a handsome leading man for directors such as Cecil B. DeMille and D.W. Griffith. In the late 1920s, he gained a lot of weight. While this pushed him into supporting roles, his deep, bullfrog voice kept him working in the sound era. The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939, are a couple of his best-known roles. Following World War II, Pallette's extreme right-wing politics caused him to become obsessed with the Russians nuking America. He bought a farm in Oregon where he lived until he died in 1954. Alan Hale, another large actor, was cast as Little John. Hale started out to be an opera singer, but when that didn't work out, he turned to acting. He starred in a number of films for Cecil B. DeMille. He also directed. In the 30s and 40s, Hale was part of the Warner Brothers stock company. His best-known films include It Happened One Night, 1934, The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, Destination Tokyo, 1943, and The Seahawk, 1940. He also played Little John in Robin Hood, 1922, and in Rogues of Sherwood Forest, 1950. Today, Hale is better known as the father of Alan Hale, Jr., who played the skipper on television's Gilligan's Island, 1964-67. Melville Cooper played the totally inept High Sheriff of Nottingham. The English actor was born in 1896. Cooper had his acting debut at Stratford-on-Avon when he was 18. World War I interrupted his acting. He served in a Scottish unit and was captured and made a POW by the Germans. Following the war, Cooper returned to stage work. In middle age, he turned to film with Black Coffee, 1931, The Private Life of Don Juan, 1934, and The Scarlet Pimpernel, 1934. He moved to America to work on Broadway. In Hollywood, he began to be cast as the Bumbler in movies like The Bishop Misbehaving, 1935, Four's a Crowd, 1938, The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, Too Many Husbands, 1940, and Baby Makes 3, 1949, The Pretty Girl, 1950, The Lady Eve, 1941, Pride and Prejudice, 1940, and as a snobby wedding supervisor in Father of the Bride, 1950. Cooper transitioned into TV roles in the 1950s and then to theater. Cooper died in 1973. Ian Hunter played the very small role of King Richard the Lionheart. It is interesting that they brought in such a great actor for this. It has been duplicated in following Robin Hood movies. Hunter was born in South Africa but moved to England as a teen. Hunter joined the British Army at 17 and served in World War I. Following the war, Hunter began stage work. He kept up this work during his entire career. His first film was British movie Not for Sale, 1924. Hunter went to Broadway, but the play folded quickly. In 1927, he met director Alfred Hitchcock. Hunter went on to make The Ring, 1927, When the Boys Leave Home, 1927, and Easy Virtue, 1928, with Hitchcock. Hunter's first American film was Syncopation, 1929. Hunter returned to Hollywood after 15 more English movies, and by then he was an established leading man. Some of his movies during this period include The Girl from 10th Avenue, 1935, with Bette Davis, A Midsummer Night's Dream, 1935, The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, The Little Princess, 1939, with Shirley Temple, and Lowe's Strange Cargo, 1940, with Clark Gable. In 1942, he returned to England to work with the war effort. Following the war, Hunter mostly appeared in theater. He retired in 1961 and died in 1975. Herbert Mundine played the role of comic sidekick Much. Mundine joined the Royal Navy during World War I. In the 1920s, he began working on the English stage. Mundine traveled to the U.S. in 1923 to work on Broadway. In 1931, Mundine permanently moved to America, where he went to work for 20th Century Fox. He had a successful career, appearing in over 50 films as a character actor. Some of his best-known films include Cavalcade, 1933, The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, with Errol Flynn, Mutiny on the Bounty, 1935, with Charles Lawton and Clark Gable, and MGM's David Copperfield, 1935. In 2012, Mundine's nephew stated he was the only man who could drink Errol Flynn under the table. If this is true, this is the most impressive fact about this actor. Mundine died in California after a car crash. He was 40 years old. Story. It's about 120 years after the Norman invasion of England. The Normans were Viking stock that had been in France for generations, and the inhabitants of England were at the time Anglo-Saxons, which are Germanic in origin. King Richard the Lionheart took off to the Holy Land in an attempt to retake Jerusalem from Saladin. He left his Norman friend Longchamps in charge of England. While on the crusade, he had made an enemy of Leopold of Austria. When Richard was captured in Austrian territory, he was held for ransom. With Richard away, John and company charged Longchamps with not being able to speak English. John and his group continued to vie for power until Richard returned. In the movie, John is bleeding the land dry with taxes, allegedly to ransom his older brother. Much, Herbert Mundine, has killed a deer in the king's woods. A group of the king's men are chasing him when Robin Hood, Errol Flynn, and Will Scarlet, Patrick Knowles, come riding along and intervene. After he is saved, Much asks to serve Robin.
Thanks, good master.
Better look before you shoot next time, little man.
From this day on, I follow only you.
And Robin instructs him to fetch the stolen deer for their dinner. Sir Guy of Gisborne, Basal Rathbone, is having a hoedown at Nottingham Castle. The guests of honor are Prince John, Claudi Rains, and Lady Marian, Olivia de Haviland.
While Richard is bent on adventure in foreign lands, it is our duty as Normans to preserve the realm by giving loyal support to Prince John, the only true defender of the Norman spirit. Hail to Prince John!
My lords, I thank you. Well, this is what we Normans like. Good food, good company, and a beautiful woman to flatter me. Eh, Lady Marian? Any more objections to the new tax from our Saxon friends?
Objections, Your Highness? With a Saxon dangling from every gallows tree between here and Charnwood?
Well said, Sir Knight, but not too many, mind. Else we'll have nobody left to till our land or pay the tax.
Sir Guy has the hots for Marian, and Prince John wants the marriage to form a stronger alliance. Sir Guy tells the prince, of all the Saxons, there is one they cannot bring in, Sir Robin of Locksley, a.k.a. Robin Hood. The Sheriff of Nottingham, Melville Cooper, says he could have captured Robin long ago, but he is the deadliest archer in England.
I could have captured him long ago, but...
But what?
Well, he's the deadliest archer in England,
And my brave High Sheriff of Nottingham is afraid of him.
About that time, Robin burst into the hall with a dead deer from the forest. The prince invites Robin to eat and sends men to trap him. Robin sits down at Prince John's table and declares he will defend the Saxons against Prince John's terror.
And what about our young Saxon cockerel here? What's the matter? Have you no stomach for honest meat?
For honest meat, yes. But I've no stomach for traitors.
You call me traitor?
You? Yes. And every man here who offers you allegiance.
Your Highness.
What else do you call a man who takes advantage of the king's misfortune to seize his power? And now, with the help of this sweet band of cutthroats, you'll try to grind a ransom for him out of every helpless Saxon. A ransom that'll be used, not to release Richard, but to buy your way to the throne.
Let me ram those words down his throat, Your Highness.
Oh, no. Later. Let him spout for the moment. And what do you propose to do?
I'll organize revolt, exact a death for a death. And I'll never rest until every Saxon in this shire can stand up, free men, and strike a blow for Richard and England.
Have you finished?
I'm only just beginning. From this night on, I use every means in my power to fight you.
A man tries to stab Robin through his chair, and Sir Guy throws a candle at Robin. I mean, really, what kind of man would throw a candle? Robin sword fights with 2 or 3 men at a time, and he even wins the scrum. When Robin takes the high ground, he out-archers the other men and escapes. But he is the best archer in England. Lady Marian watches with great interest. Robin flees, and Sir Guy's men give chase. After picking off a few lead riders, Robin and his group get away into Sherwood Forest. Robin sends Much to gather all the men that want to fight against Prince John. Back at Sir Guy's castle, they are getting the dead ready for burial and branding Robin a criminal. Anyone that gives Robin aid is a criminal as well. They seize all of Robin's lands and estates. Prince John also says start collecting the taxes for the ransom. As Robin and Will Scarlet travel through the woods, they run into a rather large man at a log bridge. Robin goads the man into fighting him. Robin is beaten and asks the man, John Little, a.k.a. Little John, Alan Hale, to join the band. Great laughing all around. A large number of men join the band, and they are known as the Merry Men. It is clear from the beginning that they are fighting for Richard the Lionheart. With the sides set, Prince John's men crack down on the Saxons, torturing, plundering, and destroying. Robin and his men strike back with an occasional arrow in the chest of a Norman soldier. An occasional arrow even hits Prince John's table. One day, while cruising through the woods, Robin finds a fat friar sleeping by a tree. Robin starts messing with the sleeping man.
Bless my soul, a miracle. A robber, thief. Give me back my mutton joint.
Oh!
If you're a robber, you'll get nothing from me. I'm a Colonel Friar and vowed to poverty.
If this is poverty, I'll gladly share it with you.
And then makes the friar carry him across the stream. Halfway across, the friar dumps Robin, and at this point Robin finds out that the friar is an able swordsman. Robin convinces him to join using food and ale. Just then, Will Scarlet comes in with word that Sir John will be moving through their area with the tax money on the next day. Robin and his men set an elaborate trap in the woods. They use vines to swing in and defeat the Norman troops. In addition to the gold, they capture Lady Marian, Sir Guy, and the High Sheriff of Nottingham. As an aside, Jamie over at the British History Podcast says this town was originally named Nottingham. Now back to the movie. Lady Marian's attendant Bess, Una O'Connor, comes along as well. The horse that Lady Marian is riding on is very beautiful, and it turns out it was the famous movie horse Trigger, appearing in an uncredited role. The horse's real name was Golden Cloud. He didn't pick up that name Trigger until he started hanging out with Roy Rogers. When the horse died, he was stuffed and placed in the Roy Rogers Museum. The stuffed horse is currently in Branson, Missouri. Anyway, Much is smitten with Bess, and they start jawing it up.
harm one hair of my lady's head. And that ugly face of yours will be walking about with no neck under it. Now, mind. What are you staring at?
Well, I ain't never been out walking with a female before.
What female?
You.
Well, of all the impudence. Oh, I suppose you say that to all the women that tickle your fancy.
I've never tickled a woman's fancy before.
Ah!
No, I've never had a sweetheart.
You mean to say you never had one single sweetheart in all your life? Ah! You don't know what you've missed, my lad. I've had the banns up 5 times.
Back in Sherwood, they make the Normans cook a feast and the merry men steal their clothes. Lady Marian is a little taken by Robin, and at one point she digs into a chicken wing like it's nobody's business. When the treasure is brought out, Lady Marian questions his motives.
You speak of loyalty.
Yes, why not?
I suppose you and your band of cutthroats intend to send this treasure to Richard? You wouldn't dream of keeping it yourselves.
Friends! What shall we do with this treasure? Divide it amongst ourselves? Hold it for Richard! It belongs to the king!
The men all shout that the money is for Richard. Robin takes Marian and shows her some of the handiwork of the Norman tax collectors. Marian begins to turn to Robin's side. Robin releases all of the captured Normans. Prince John chews out Sir Guy and the sheriff.
He took everything you had collected,
Every silver penny.
and you two nincompoops sat there and let him do it.
Oh, we resisted as well as we could.
Where are your wounds? Your bruises? And where are your men?
What did your highness expect? Was the Lady Marian in our company and Locksley's men outnumbering us 3 to 1?
And not an arrow wound to divide among the lot of them, I suppose, and more than 30,000 marks in the hands of that wolf's head.
The sheriff comes up with a plan to host an archery tournament. The prize will be a golden arrow presented by Lady Marian. Robin can't resist the trap. He comes in disguised as a tinker, a knife sharpener. The Normans slowly close in on Robin. Of course, Robin wins the tournament by splitting the arrow of his competitor. Marian is upset because she sees the trap coming. After he is called out, Robin charges through the stands, but there are too many soldiers and he is caught. The chained Robin is brought into the hall and sentenced for his crime by Sir Guy.
Robin of Locksley, known to some as the outlaw Robin Hood. After a fair trial in which you were not able to produce one witness in your behalf, you have been found guilty of outlawry, theft, murder, abduction, false pretenses, contempt of the crown, poaching in the royal forests, and high treason.
Haven't you forgotten a count or two? Surely it's a crime under the noble Prince John to love one's country, to protect serfs from injustice and be loyal to one's king.
If I could add anything to the charges against you, I would most gladly do so.
The Normans chain Robin to the wall in the dungeon until he can be hanged the next day. Bess has been seeing much, and she tells Marian how to find the merry men. Marian goes to the group, but they don't believe her. Friar Tuck makes her swear a Christian oath, and she gives the merry men a plan. The next day they bring Robin out to be hanged in the town square, but his men have sneaked into town. Robin eyes the men as the rope is tied. The merry men open up with arrows as Robin jumps to a horse and flees. Friar Tuck crashes a wagon into the pursuing troops. Robin cuts the rope on the portcullis and rides the rope to the top, and then remounts his horse on the other side. One night, Robin returns to the castle and climbs to Lady Marian's room. She is telling Bess how much she loves Robin, and he overhears. He confesses his love to her, and he badgers the same out of her. Marian says she can't go with Robin because she can do more by staying in the castle. The evil Sir Guy is outside listening through the door. Creeper. In the Kent Road Tavern, several hooded men are eating as the owner tells how the Saxons are being treated.
You gentlemen have traveled far?
Yes, quite some distance.
I'm sorry I can't give you better food. There's little left to us these days.
Well, this will be enough.
The inn at Luton was well supplied. How is that?
Ah, that's a Norman inn.
The bishop comes in just having been robbed by Robin Hood. He hears one of the men call another sire, as he is really Richard the Lionheart. The bishop makes his excuses and leaves to warn Prince John. Prince John decides he wants to kill Richard before he can retake the crown. They send a disgraced knight to kill the king. This time Marian is listening from the spiral stairway. Marian sends Bess out with a warning note for Robin to find the king. Sir Guy comes into Marian's room and takes her to the great hall where he accuses her of treason before Prince John. Prince John says when he is king he will have her executed for treason. Bess gets the message to Much, and he attacks the knight at a stream ford. The scene cuts to the king and his men riding through Sherwood Forest. Robin stops the king and starts to rob him. The merry men surround the king and his men. The man says he is a friend to Richard, and they go back to the camp to eat.
Traveled far this morning?
Too far to be patient of delay now.
So? Perhaps it's the weight of your purse that wearies you. Now, I can remedy that. You hand it to me, and if it weighs more than the just amount, then I'll share it with those who have less. Come.
You think I hand my purse to every rough lout who asks for it?
But we're only poor outlaws with nothing to eat but the king's deer, while you have property, rents, and silver. So, your purse.
But I've traveled far in the king's business. The silver pennies I have left in my purse equal no more than 60 marks.
What? Are you friendly to our good King Richard?
I love no man better.
Will Scarlet finds the wounded Much by the road, having won his fight. They go to Robin and tell of the king. Robin orders all of his men to find the king. King Richard steps forward and reveals himself.
Men, Richard must be found. He must be found and brought here for safety. Little John, take a party and scour the countryside. Friar Tuck, into the town. Will, search every inn and cottage. Don't rest, any of you, day or night until he's found. Understand?
You don't need to search for Richard, Robin. He's in good hands. The best in England.
What do you mean? Where is he?
Here.
Robin and Richard know they cannot take the castle by storm, so they go to the abbey and disguise themselves as monks. They walk right into the castle with the abbot in the lead. The abbot traps Prince John in treason with the questions he asks.
By what authority do you, John Lackland, Prince of England, claim to be crowned this day sovereign of the realm, and as defender of the Holy Sepulchre to receive the blessing of the Church?
By right of blood succession, according to the law of the realm.
Is it of your own free will that you thus depose your brother, Richard the Lionheart of England?
Richard no longer exists.
When Richard reveals himself, they all go to sword fighting. Sir Guy and Robin start fighting and end up on a spiral staircase in one of the most famous cinematic sword fights of all time.
Did I upset your plans?
You've come to Nottingham once too often.
When this is over, my friend, there'll be no need for me to come again.
The fight continues around candles again. There are scenes of shadows fighting. Finally, Robin dispatches him with a well-placed sword. The merry men solidly win the fight, and Robin rescues Marion. PJ begs his brother, but Richard banishes the bad guy from England.
Richard, I thought...
You thought I was murdered?
No, I didn't mean to. After all, Richard, I am your brother.
Yes, sir. He is your brother.
Richard pardons the merry men. He then grants land and title to Robin and says he must marry Marion. World-famous short summary: Big city girl lands country boy. If you enjoyed this week's show, please tell your friends. And if you really want to help, drop over to iTunes and give me a review. If you want to comment, recommend a movie, or just say hi, follow the links in the show note to my site.